Fieldsports Britain coming up. We've got the people who shoot at 1,000 yards without a scope. We've got news, we've got hunting YouTube. First, we go behind the scenes at one of the country's top gun shops. It's William Powell. Have shotgun will travel. A shotgun is a ticket to some remarkable destinations, and this is one of them. A pigeon tower in the middle of a wood in Oxfordshire. You must have a head for heights, and you have to be 100% sure it's in the right spot, as its portability is not a strong point. Shooting from the tower marks the end of a day spent with the lads from William Powell, who have opened up their gun room, talked us through the range of guns and the gun fitting, explained the skill that goes into producing their handmade guns, and shown us their shop in Banbury. We've said before that William Powell is a one-stop shop offering shooters and landowners everything they need, from rough shooting and fishing to grouse.
Our aim is to be a one-stop shooting business, and that's what we're trying to be, and over the years have developed into it.
Mark Osborne and his wife Christine bought William Powell in 2008. Together with James Chappell, who looks after the sporting agency side of the business, they cover all the shooting bases.
We're very lucky because we have, as well as William Powell, we have our sporting agency and our sporting land management practice, so we have almost a unique knowledge of shooting in the UK. Our sporting agency manages or runs over 500 days shooting of all types, from rough shooting to big driven days, from pheasant shooting to snipe shooting, grouse shooting, deer stalking and fishing as well. So we've got a tremendous depth of experience to call on, and if people come in and asking specific questions, we can usually find a member of staff who's been there and done that.
At the core of it all is, of course, the guns. They developed their handmade Continental range of shotguns to provide an alternative to the traditional English gun. Let's start with the side-by-sides.
About 20 years ago, we found that the handmade English shotgun was just getting far too expensive for most customers to buy. As a result, we decided to try and find an alternative, and Peter Powell went to Spain and met up with Arieta, who are perhaps Spain's leading gunmaker, and developed the original two models of William Powell Continental guns. Over the last 7 years, we have expanded that range, and we now have 6 models of side-by-side shotgun made for us by Arieta. And Arieta is a wonderful gun-making factory, very small. There's about 18 full-time gun makers, and it's like a throwback to a gun-making workshop in the 1950s. Everything is handmade. There is almost no machinery in that workshop. It's set up in the hills in the Basque region of Spain, and it produces exceptional quality guns, and every one is made by hand. All of Arieta's guns, which means all of the William Powell Continental side-by-sides, are side locks. The fact that we can sell a side lock, a handmade side lock shotgun, the markers, for such an inexpensive price is extraordinary. These are the best quality, low cost shotguns available in the UK market today.
Last time we saw Mark was on Snilesworth Moor using the Highbird Specialist, the Linnup. This is something a little lighter, the top-of-the-range Zenith.
We worked out recently that this gun is a fifth of the price of a comparable side-by-side English shotgun. So if it was made in England, it would cost 5 times more.
These guns may be crafted in Spain, but they are most definitely an English gun.
The difference between this and a standard top-of-the-range side-by-side shotgun made in Spain is just in the finer details. It's just slimmer, it's a bit lighter, and it's just finished off better.
Whether you are an average Joe or Mr. Joe Average, it will come as no surprise that a properly fitted gun will help your shooting. William Powell uses a local shooting ground to find the best fit for you. Not only is it incredibly important, it's fun, and at the end of it you have a gun that is most definitely yours.
So gun fit is phenomenally important. I rate it as the most important thing, and would much rather people buy a less expensive gun that fits them and uses, if need be, that money to have a gun fit and to have the gun altered, than they buy a more expensive gun which doesn't fit them, because they will not shoot well.
Up the tower, and it's reflex shooting for Will and Harvey. They should be used to it, because when they're not selling guns in the gun room, they're managing the estates and moorland across William Powell's Sporting's portfolio, offering sport from grouse in Scotland to wild boar in Spain. Back to the gun room, and this time it's the over and unders. These are made by Italian gunmaker Rizzini, again to English specifications.
Because of the tremendous success that we'd had with our Ariettas, we then decided that we needed to do the same and find a William Powell Continental over and under. We finally settled on Battista Rizzini. We started off with 2 models, and we now have 5. Mr. Rizzini is one of the most respected gun makers in Italy, and he has made for us just a truly exceptional range of guns.
Will and Harvey have had some success in their high tower hide and with their William Powell hardware. To find out more about William Powell guns, the shooting, or to buy some cartridges, go to williampowell.com. Now from beautifully figured stocks to our hideously disfigured newsreader, it's David on the Fieldsports Channel News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. A Cornish farmer makes a desperate appeal to Fieldsports Channel viewers. Harry Jeffries has lost so many lambs from his herd of Jacob sheep and Shetlands to foxes, he needs help controlling them. Based near St Ives and a shooter himself, Harry says shooting on his farm is free to anyone. Look up Jeffries Harry on Facebook to contact him. The star of the new dinosaur movie, Jurassic World, has made a virtue of his keenness on hunting. Actor Chris Pratt says that going shooting helps him feel closer to God. The 35-year-old, who is currently promoting his new blockbuster Jurassic World, told reporters about his respect for the animals that he kills. The USA is mulling over whether to list lions as threatened species. If America decides to set up a system of permits for importing trophies from lion hunts, it could have a devastating effect on South African hunting, say American big game hunters. In 2013, foreign hunters spent more than £60 million in South Africa, 32% more than the previous year. Now, what would you expect from a magazine with the title Grunters? Well, it's dedicated to ladies posing with big dead pigs. The number of women hunting feral pigs is on the rise in Australia and New Zealand, and so is the number of women pig hunter websites. The rising popularity is put down to it being fun and a good cause, protecting the environment. One lady hunter writes, "My partner reckons that I've got more guts than a lot of the blokes out there, which is good. I have no hesitation in running and grabbing a pig." Another said that a photograph of her in a bikini top sitting atop a female pig has copped a bit of flack by the critics, but that it was taken when it was hot, 40 degrees that day. And finally, who needs David Attenborough when you have a back garden in the USA? This film has just been uploaded to the Fanatics Hunting channel, showing a bear taking down a deer. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David. Now imagine a world without glass. Well, that's Bisley and the long-range shooters. Well, I've come to Bisley to watch people shoot at 1,000 yards, so I won't be needing one of these. These shooters do it with open sights, or nearly open sights. Can you even see for 1,000 yards? Can you see a 2-foot V-bull at that distance? That's more than half a mile, just under a kilometre. Well, don't worry, neither can these shooters, exactly.
It's a picture you develop through small bore shooting. Most four-bore shooters come from small bore, and they're used to just having the black rings, and you train yourself to just perfect your position so that everything is as still as possible. Lower your heartbeat, lower your breathing, and then slowly just believe that if the black is roughly in the middle of the ring and you squeeze the shot away and your hold is good, you will hit the middle. Our cardio has to be good, our diet has to be good, our whole lung and breathing system, etc., has to be good enough so that we can slow it all down.
There are some top shots here. Parag Patel has won multiple medals at the Commonwealth Games, including golds. He gives his version of how to shoot long distance without a lens.
Well, I think the ability to hold a rifle still is something you learn fairly quickly, especially if you started young. I started young at the age of 14 at school, and providing you've got a good hold and a good trigger release, it's not necessarily what you're aiming at that's important, as long as it's the same thing every time and you've got a consistent hold. You can find that actually, even if you can't see the target, you can still do pretty well. The sight picture is, in essence, what you're supposed to be aiming at. But with a 7.62 target rifle, without a telescope, it's just a couple of holes, the rear sight, the foresight, and the target in the middle, and you just try and align them, and you try and repeat that every single time to make sure it's consistent.
The force is strong with these shooters, and it's particularly strong today because the Jedi among them have come together for the Inter-Counties final at Bisley in Surrey, headquarters of the National Rifle Association and the home of British shooting.
Stickledown being one of the iconic ranges in the world, very difficult to master, always got a temperament in it, and all our major competitions finish at 900 and 1,000 yards. So that's where we really need to get our marksmanship right. The short range is really the preamble to getting here.
Can you hear me on target 1? Thank you. Can you hear me on target 50?
The shooters take their places along 50 pegged positions. The first shoot is a piffling 900 yards. That's 8.5 Big Ben towers laid end to end. Of all the counties taking part today, there is one standout potential winner.
Surrey have had a beautiful shoot there. They are 2 points off at 900 yards, so that's 8 people, and 6 of them have shot a full score of 75.
You may think this is a chance for personal glory. Well, there is some to be had, but this match is, above all, a team event.
So you've got a team of 10, of which 8 will shoot. They will share 2 targets, and they'll have 1.5 hours for the 8 to shoot their specific rounds. So for every person that shoots, you're going to have someone coaching them, and what he's doing is looking and seeing what the wind's doing, because especially at this distance, the wind is going to move the bullet maybe 4 or 5 feet, and when you think the bull is only 2 feet across, that's going to take you right out of the bull. So they're going to be looking at that and making adjustments on the sights accordingly. The other person who's sitting down, he's the plotter, and what he's doing is marking where the bullet's actually gone. And he can do that through the telescope, because the marker will put a red spotting disc in where the bullet hole's gone through. That's the marker down the butt, 900 yards away. He will work out where the bullet's gone, and then he'll correlate that with the others to get an idea of where the centre of where the guy's shooting, and then move the sights to the centre of the target, which is where you want it, of course.
Bill Richards is a wind coach. He explains what he does.
The shooter he simply has one job, which is to let off well-aimed shots perfectly. Our job is to do everything else. So we don't just judge the wind, but that's our primary job. But we've also got to make sure the group is centred and keep the shooter calm, and make sure that we manage the time that's going on as well. So it's more than just simply reading the wind.
Ed Jeens is another international. He shoots in the Palmer match, a long-range competition that takes place every 4 years.
Great Britain have had great success in the last few years. I think they're winners 2007, 2011 and I believe 2003.
Ed's wife is about to have a baby. Babies in the Jeens family started to take an active part in Bisley life last year.
Yes, my brother Richard had his boy David just before the Imperial meeting, and so David got a very nice chair ride come the final Saturday when Richard won the Queen's Prize. So lucky David was, I think, one of the youngest people to ride in the chair ever.
These shooters try not to let babies get in the way of their sport. They're keen, especially when it comes to the Imperial meeting, which takes place at Bisley in July and is worth a visit. Thousands of people descend on the place for more than a week.
I have only missed doing all of it 1 year, when I had my second child. And I could only manage to do the Queen's competition that year because I had my second baby in May. So that was cutting it a bit fine. But I still managed to come back for the Queen's and I still made the final.
These shooters are accuracy nuts too, and not just the obvious. Even their clothes have to be on target.
The jacket is obviously essential for support. Because we're holding the rifle by the virtue of a sling in our hand, we usually have a glove on the hand, and that protects you from the cut of the sling. But the sling, the tension comes through the back of the arm, so that you don't get any pulse. The jacket gives you the shoulder support. If you notice, I won't be able to close my elbows. So that gives you the strength to actually hold the gun steady. Because these things weigh about 7 kilos. Well, basically, I have a 22mm foresight that has more light in, so I can get the picture I want. I've got a micro-adjustable rear sight, which is 1/4 minutes. Now, if you think that a minute of angle is 1/60th of a degree, and 1/4 of that is 1 click, as we call it. So we're working on quite small movements. At this range, 1 minute is worth 9 inches.
John Webster, NRA chairman, says the sport is not expensive for the novice.
There are any number of ways of getting second-hand rifles and or borrowing rifles from the NRA or clubs that are affiliated to it. And a lot of the old schools would have their clubs. A lot of the clubs that you could join would have their own club rifles, and that's, they're easily hired and very good. A jacket can be anywhere between £100 and £500, perhaps. The scopes also range. If you want to go for the top drawer, a Leica, I think, will cost you north of £1,000 if you've got a twitching type scope, which some people want and some people. But normally you can pick one up sort of £100 or £200. Slings and other accessories are relatively cheap on that basis, so maybe another 100 to 150 between them. So you could look at a brand new top of the range kit could be £6,000 to £7,000, but for the beginner, you could start well with £500, and you would be up and running quite quickly.
Another vital bit of kit is the ammunition, and the Intercounties has a new sponsor, Lithuanian ammunition manufacturer GGG.
Our company, LEI, is importing the ammunition into the UK, and we've helped develop the ammunition with the NRA and GGG as a partnership.
Our quality control is very strict, and we have 3 steps of the quality control, beginning from the raw materials and finishing with cartridges control.
I was at the factory myself a couple of weeks ago, and the quality control standards are quite outstanding. The factory has a full ISO 9001 qualification and a full NATO accreditation, with the accreditation approved by the UK MOD's test laboratory.
David Crispin, chairman of Surrey, is pleased with his team and with the new ammunition.
Yeah, the team had a record score yesterday with 1194 out of 1200. So the team only dropped 6 points. Very, very good for us.
Not everything is going smoothly for the London team, however. Still shooting at 900 yards, and Ed's plotter is unhappy with the information coming back from the butts.
Can we have a message 13, please? Message 13, please. 13 on or 22?
Target 22, message 13 at 13.
Yep, target 22 is a magpie.
Target 22, Roger, they don't believe it's completely out of the group. Can you double check? Over.
Ed takes up the story.
Obviously, you want to be scoring V-balls, the very central ring, or fives. That's where you want to be. If you slip out into the inner or the four ring, then that's a shame. But for us, we had a magpie coming up, and my coach wasn't happy that was necessarily where my shot had fallen. So using the radio system between the range officers here and the butt supervisors down there, you can send messages to request they inspect the target. And the question asked was, is that my shot? Have you just mispatched it? And embarrassingly, it turned out it was perhaps my shot. Who knows? But yeah, you get the score you get. So
it was a query about the marking. They had an unexplained shot, and I just got the chief butts officer to go and have a look, see if there's any extra holes. Fortunately, there weren't, so they carried on and targets back up, and they're shooting again.
Match officials are kept on their toes here. The problem for the shooting teams is how this disturbs concentration.
It's a very, very mental sport, and the smallest thing can get in your mind and make things very difficult.
Halfway through the competition, the shooters move up to the 1,000-yard position. You could comfortably put 8 football pitches long ways between each shooter and their target. It's like hitting Nelson's hat on his column if you're shooting from the London Eye. After it starts, Peter gives me an idea of how the teams are performing.
We got 55 minutes to go. Surrey are still appearing to keep it together. The other two teams, I think they're hot on the heels. The good news is the weather is brightening quite considerably. It's a lovely sight picture down there, so you will see scores start to get better and better as the light improves.
One of the contenders today is Sussex.
We had a really good day yesterday, and well, we'll just see how it goes today.
Not been easy. Tell me about illness.
One of our team members was taken ill. He woke up this morning, didn't feel well, couldn't see anything when he got down on target. So because we can use everybody who's in our team, one of our coaches has very, very kindly stepped into his shoes. So, but it is the top lady shooter and one of our top shooters at Bisley, so it's no bad thing.
Was he poisoned by the Surrey team?
Probably.
It's quite competitive, isn't it?
It's very competitive. It is very competitive. And Surrey are extremely good. Very, very hard to beat. Occasionally we manage it, but they have a lot of very, very good shooters to pick from. We are much, much smaller, often scratching around for a really good team. So we do our best, and sometimes we do it.
Age does not stop people enjoying this sport. Martin Townsend shoots for Hertfordshire.
No, I've just come out of the under-25s. Well, don't ask me how long I've been shooting. I started when I was 6. Well, I used 303 as I used to use the old P14 and the Enfield, which was good fun. They smelled like guns in those days, and when you got them out and you cleaned them, the oil, everything smelled like a gun, which is what you don't get anymore.
Nor is youth a barrier. Paul Lanigan captains the under-25s.
It's definitely an up-and-coming sport, I think. It's great to have quite a few people getting involved from a young age, and obviously through the various schools and ACF groups, you'll have quite a few cadets coming through.
As the competition draws to a close, I catch up with the man responsible for this extraordinary place. Andrew Mercer is Chief Executive of the NRA.
Most busy weekends, or most weekends from say March through to October, each day we'll have 500 or 600 people shooting here. On a busy day it's over 1,000. So it's a progressively busy range complex, and getting busier all the time. We train obsessively. We're very keen to make sure that people are properly competent and assessed as competent actually before they're allowed on the ranges. So there's an intensive probationary training programme that everybody has to go through. We actually manage our ranges with great care. We have several thousand range conducting officers actually who are carefully trained by us, who actually manage and administer the ranges over the course of the year. So safety is a big obsession of us, obsession for the NRA, and it's a key training element of that we address.
So to the prize giving, and it is, by now, predictable.
Sorry.
What's less predictable is my tipster, Peter. He wants to end the day with a bang, and he has just the right instrument for the job.
Just put some powder in first, and now I'm putting the plug in, which is rolled up toilet paper. Make sure that's nicely tamped. Then you get the cannonball. A little bit of paper around it just to get a nice seal on it.
clamp that down. And believe it or not, you can actually aim this. For more about shooting at Bisley, go to nra.org.uk. From Surrey to the wider world of hunting and shooting on YouTube, it is Hunting YouTube. This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the best hunting and shooting videos that YouTube has to offer. 260 Rip sends in his film Long Range Bonus Fox. He's rabbit shooting and there is a fox. Wrong time, wrong place. You think you have seen a pigeon problem? Well, look at this lot. JJ Casaria is hosting a party of Texans in Argentina. Here's an unusual one, and another reason for some that Britain should leave the EU. Chasseur de France looks at hunting thrushes with glue in Provence. I'll read that again. Hunting thrushes with glue in Provence. Waffenland TV is stalking roebucks in Bavaria. It's in German, but forgive it, he gets his buck. Similar idea. Jagdbüro Kala enjoys a beautiful morning roast stalking to birdsong apparently conducted by Herbert von Karajan. A 1-minute trailer on a beautiful Scandinavian woman hunting beautiful wildebeest. Full video can be watched at Clausen TV, but this film may be enough for you to fall in love. Keith Warren is in one of my favourite places. He's after the Indian antelope nilgai in South Texas. And finally, Changeable Hawk Eagle Hunting 2015 is excellent and shows what you can do with a handycam and knowledge of YouTube's own film editing tools. That's it for this week. If you have a YouTube film you would like us to pop into the weekly top 8, send it in via YouTube or email me the link, charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. If you don't like any of those, perhaps you'll like this. Claysports episode 2 is out. Last time we looked at the world of sporting, this time we're looking at pot hunting at the Olympics. Ed Ling has got a quota place. We talked to him about that. His wife Abby does not have a quota place. What does she feel about that? Peter Wilson presents it. Amber Hill, Andy Crow and Brodie Willard all feature, and you'll find out what to buy the clay shooter in your life for Father's Day. Well, we are back next week. Please subscribe. Please go to our website, fieldsportschannel.tv, where you can click to like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter, or pop your email address into our constant contact box and we'll constantly contact you about our programme Field Sports Britain. It's at 7 PM UK time every Wednesday. This has been Field Sports Britain. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye.